my heart that we need a refreshing in the house of God.
Amen.
So I do this as a demonstration of the living Word this morning. If you have your books, the living Word of God, turn with me to Romans chapter 11. I want to first hear from the words of Paul. He wrote these epistles to the Romans. Chapter 11, verse 11, speaking of what said David, said, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now in the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles. How much more their fullness? For I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify my office. You see, as Paul speaks, he's telling them that I'm not condemning you for anything that I've not done myself. If by any means I may provoke to emulate them which are my flesh, and might have some of them, for the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world. What shall the reconciling of them be, but life from the dead? For if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being an old olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakest the root and fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because the unbelief, they were broken off. And though standeth by faith, be not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not thee. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fell, severity. But toward thee, goodness, if thou continue in his goodness. Otherwise, thou shalt also be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again. For if thou wert cut off the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and wert grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conscience. Blindness, in part, has happened to Israel, unto the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And so all Israel shall be saved. And it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverers, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. As concerning the gospel, they are the enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved from the Father's sakes. For the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. God put that on my heart last night. You see, it's very easy to think, to get to a place where, as we'll learn here in just a minute, even the disciples were of wanting to push people away, wanting to count them out. And say, well, they got problems. We all got problems, as Paul said. He said, I'm right there with you. In the book of Luke, chapter 9, along verse 51, and it came to pass, when the time was come, that he should be received up, he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem. We're talking about the Son of Man, the Son of God, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. He set his face to go to Jerusalem and sent messengers before his face. And they went and entered into a village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. And they did not receive him, because his face was as though he would go to Jerusalem. And when his disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, Lord, wilt thou that we command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, even as Elias did? You see, what we have to know and understand about James and John, these men were surnamed the sons of thunder. Amen. They believed in the very power of God.
Amen.
They believed these people, these Samaritans, that wouldn't accept them, should be burned up. They believed that they weren't safe. They weren't worth saving. Sometimes it's easy to fall into that category with James and John. Say, well, it's just too much trouble. It's not worth the aggravation. It's not worth the mess. It's just not worth it. At this point in our struggle with the flesh, as we live in these fleshly bodies, in our carnal minds, we have to wrestle with these thoughts. Do I go to this brother? Do we go to this sister? Well, they're not going to accept me anyway. They're not going to listen to me. I can invite them to church, but I know they're not going to come. As men and women of God, we got to do it anyway. We got to obey the Lord. Because as I have seen in the past, my own eyes, I've been told by God to go do something. And I've been told by man, you're wasting your time. We've tried that. It didn't work. This one tried that one tried that, the other one tried that. There's been many come before you. Nobody could do this thing that you have set out to do. Howbeit, the Lord has proven to me time and time again, if I will obey him, if I will do what and when he has called me to do it, and my hand will prosper. You see what James and John were referring to. We can find in 2 Kings chapter 1. I'll start in verse 3. But the angel of the Lord said to Elisha the Tishbite, Arise, go up to meet the messenger of the king of Samaria, and say unto him, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel that ye go to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore, thus saith the Lord, Thou shalt not come down from the bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. And Elisha departed. And when the messenger turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are you now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel, that thou sendest to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore, thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up, but thou surely die. And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you and told you these words? You see, he was trying to figure out who was this man that had the authority to say, Thus saith the Lord. And they answered him, and he was a hairy man, and girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said it was Elijah, the Tishbite. See, they knew by the description who this man was. We are known today by our description, who we are, what we look like, how we dress. They knew by what was girded about his loins. They recognized the mantle of God. Even down to his hairstyle. I noticed that.
Amen.
Whoa.
Even down to his hairstyle. You see, sometimes that's how the Lord moves. Sometimes we need to get dressed up fancy, put on a suit and tie to be respected, to be accepted. Other times, it takes something different.
Yep.
Other times, it takes something completely different. It takes coming in our blue jeans and our sneakers, being able to relate to the person that you're talking to, the one that you're trying to reach. Sometimes God will tell you of the morning how you should dress. So when I say obey the Lord in all things, even how you should dress, how you should fix your hair. Because people remember you as they remembered Elijah. By his outward appearance. Not only how we dress, but how we act. Our spirit. I believe that that's how we'll know each other when we get to heaven. Because we won't have these old bodies. We'll receive a new body. But we'll know each other's spirit.
Amen.
Same spirit that we walk on this earth. I'll be able to know Brother Ron. Say, hey, yeah, yep. may not know him afar off, because he'll be in a new glorified body. But once we get together, I want to know, hey, there's something familiar there. Only by His Spirit. Then the king said unto him a captain of 50 with his 50. And he sent up to him, and beheld, he sat on top of a hill. And he spake unto him, Thou man of God, the king hath said, Come down. And Elijah answered and said to the captain of 50. Here's what he said with boldness. You see, the captain had already recognized with respect his authority. Thou man of God, he called up to him, up on the hill. He didn't call him, Hey Elijah, come on down from there. No, he addressed him with respect, a surname. A surname. Man of God. Man of God. Man of God. Come down. And Elijah answered and said unto the captain of 50, If I be a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again also he set up unto him another captain of 50 with his 50. And he answered and said unto him, Here again, another captain, another 50 of 50. O man of God. You see, the king done told his name, so they knew. They could have said, Elijah, let's come on down from there. He said, Man of God. He cried out to him, O man of God. Thus hath the king said, Come down quickly. Elijah answered, said unto him, If I be a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. So not once, but twice this had happened already. The king was relentless. So here he sends yet again another captain. Verse 13, he sent again captain, the third, 50, with his 50. And the captain of the 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Elijah and besought him and said unto him, O man of God, I pray thee, let my life and the life of these 50, thy servants, be precious in thy sight. Behold, there came fire down from heaven and burned up the two captains of the former 50 with their 50. Therefore let my life now be precious in thy sight. And the angel of the Lord said unto Elijah, Go down with him, be not afraid of him. And he arose and went down with him unto the king. You see, sometimes it's easy to be wrathful, it's easy to be vengeful, it's easy to let our emotions get carried away and start raining down fire. Raining down fire. Consuming people. Burning people up. But along the third time, the men didn't come against him in haste.